In today's monologue, we examine the old and new Americas at war with each other and why it is becoming more difficult to hear cheers for the President of the United States.
Great fences make good neighbors, all while providing safety, security, and privacy for you, your family, and your fur family. Backyard Works is your local fence, deck, and handrail experts, owned and operated right here in Sussex County. All materials are top quality and made in the USA. Backyard Works knows that home is where the heart is. Visit online to view stunning projects at backyardworks.net or call today for customer service that's unmatched. 302-703-9888.
The monologue is entitled A Lesson from the Deep South. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump attended a big football game on Saturday between Alabama's Crimson Tide and the LSU Tigers in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I personally do not follow college sports anymore, but I am smart enough to know that this was a big game because of the huge rivalry between these two teams. I suppose the word rivalry was perfect to describe the game. Rivalry may also apply to fans who attended the game not for team affiliation, but for their political affiliation. This country has fallen so far that at least half the country will not cheer their own president at a sporting event. They would choose to boo the leader of their country because he is not their president. Can you remember a time in America where the office of the president was as cherished as the flag and the privilege of living in America? At one time, America really was like Return Day on the Circle in Georgetown. Most of us listening to this monologue grew up in that America. When a politician marched in a local parade, any parade, they were cheered in old America. Today, politicians will hear boos any time and place they are in public. Back then, politicians weren't booed, they were cheered. Why do you think? Because they represented us and our United States of America. In my opinion, if someone boos a president that they don't like because they didn't vote for them, and their opinion is, he's not my president, then they cannot love their country very much. Back in 1964, my brother and I climbed a fence and stood on a hill along the southbound Seaford Oyster Bay Expressway, for you native Long Islanders, the 135, waiting for the presidential motorcade to pass, Lyndon Johnson's motorcade. Johnson was attending a campaign rally in Levittown at the old defunct Times Square stores on Hempstead Turnpike. I was more than 500 feet away from the roadway, but was thrilled just to wave at President Johnson, even though he probably never saw my brother or me. But that was old America. One woman was photographed giving President Trump's motorcade the finger back in 2017. Now, that classy woman was elected to office in Virginia. In old America, that woman would have been ostracized for her vulgar gesture against the President of the United States. She worked for a government contractor and felt so proud of what she did that she posted the photo on social media, flipping the President's motorcade, the bird. Well, she lost her job. But guess what? She ran for office, public office in Virginia. In the new America, that type of vulgarity supports people like her, upset that her candidate lost. Flipping the bird was the right thing to do against President Trump, and now she has been rewarded by voters. Figure that out. Sad part, this woman was proud of her vulgarity and posted it like she won something on social media. Many of what I called new Americans saw that woman as a hero and rewarded her for that vulgarity. It sickens me, but this is the new America at war with the old. I have to be very candid and honest with you, my friends. I have been guilty of some of that same vulgarity. I can remember a day I was walking down Fifth Avenue in New York City and being accosted by a group of energetic Howard Dean supporters back in 2004. My response to them was to flip them the bird and move on. And it was yours truly who refused to shake hands with Bill Clinton backstage of a television special I was working on. After I flipped the bird to those Deaniacs who were campaigning for Howard Dean, I regretted it because as a dad, I was not setting a good example for those college-age kids who were getting their feet wet in politics. I should have been more understanding and calmly explained to them why I detested the socialist Howard Dean. That would have set a far better example. Looking back, I am embarrassed by what I did that day. So you see, I am just as guilty as the Virginia woman who flipped President Trump the bird. But why is this happening to us? Why are Americans lashing out at this point in our history? Do both sides feel threatened? Perhaps. However, I am proud of myself for refusing to shake hands with Slick Willie. I look at him as an enemy of freedom and a disgrace to the office of President of the United States. For those of you listening in Maryland, Or for those of you who may have recently moved to the first state, Return Day is a traditional event for the state of Delaware that is held on the Thursday after Election Day in November. It happens at the Circle in Georgetown. If only our nation could mirror Return Day. Most of this nation's history, both parties were pro-America. Democrats and Republicans differed on the method to address the nation's priorities, but both parties were looking out for America's best interests. As I see it today, one party is pro-American, the other is clearly anti-American. If you have a party that pushes socialist or even in some cases communist policies, they are anti-American. I said it, I believe it, they are anti-American. When you have a party that is more aligned with policies created for life in the Soviet Union, that party is anti-American. Now you may be saying, Jake, how can you say that? Easy. Both of these Americas, the old and the new, are at war. I think you know that. You know I've talked about it repeatedly, that this is America's next civil war. We know that the other side really does believe, as Maxine Waters believes, that you attack politicians in restaurants. Bernie supporters shoot Republicans at a bipartisan baseball practice, and you attack their families by sending them white powder through the mail to harass them. Why do you guys do these things? Because you lost. You're sore losers. In the past, this nation moved on from elections quickly, but not anymore. It is no longer about the old America. It is about the new America, the nation where it is not about the country, it's about me. I want my student loans forgiven. I want free health care. And if I can't have my way, I will throw a tantrum until I get what I want. Isn't that what we see today? Our children have been irreparably harmed and turned against the old America, that racist America, that America which is the great Satan. How do you fix something like that? I compare it to a person who has been the victim of a vicious, untrue rumor. That rumor gets repeated over and over. And without one piece of evidence to back it up, that rumor becomes accepted fact to many and ruins someone's reputation. The Socialist Democrats have ruined our nation's and our president's good reputation. Today, we are concerned, worried, even curious how a president of the United States will be received at a public sporting event. Not a political event, a sporting event of all things. I suppose that is the reason why many politicians now plan their public appearances in front of pre-selected friendly crowds. Crowds that are assembled for them. Obama did it. We know President Trump does it with his MAGA rallies. The last president to be cheered in enemy territory was George W. Bush, who was treated like a hero at the old Yankee Stadium in New York just after 9/11. The bipartisanship did not last long after 9/11, did it? And it did not take long for us to return to the battle over the new and old Americas. Although that battle has certainly intensified as the Democrats have transitioned to become the socialist Democrats. Do you recall how immediately following 9/11, George W. Bush put his arms around his nemesis, Speaker Tom Daschle, and proposed a kind of détente with Daschle? Daschle didn't respond by flipping President Bush the bird, per se, but he showed the nation that he was not interested in détente. So much for working together for the good of the nation. I would guess that not even Abraham Lincoln was booed at public appearances during the Civil War. However, who would have thought that the Deep South would be the ones to provide our president and first lady with a thunderous cheer, not because of politics, but because they represent our great nation? Too bad the rest of this nation cannot show that kind of respect. The Deep South has been the brunt of many jokes and snide comments from stuck-up Northerners for many years. If this nation, the old America, is going to survive, we are going to have to rely on those patriots from the Deep South. I was proud of them on Saturday and felt so much better about our future when a bunch of college football fans in Tuscaloosa showed us all how it is done, because this nation has apparently forgotten. And that is the monologue. What say you? The monologue was sponsored locally by Backyard Works, your premier fence, deck, and handrail source. Owned and operated here in Sussex County. Visit them online to view stunning projects at backyardworks.net and give the local experts a call for your free quote today. 302-703-98